Hello there and welcome to Philosophy Insights. Today is going to be more of a different video. My channel started around 5 years ago in 2017, and today I want to give my perspective on how I think that the landscape of cultural and political commentary has changed over these 5 years when it comes to issues like social justice, conservatism and liberalism, feminism, but also wokeness now. In 2017, there were actually three main events that were happening, in my opinion, that shaped the discussion that was going on during that time. First of all, Jordan Peterson's rise to prominence when he actually refused to use compelled speech in connection to the C-16 bill. Here, a very popular video of that.
The reason I'm defending freedom of speech is because that's how people with different opinions settle their opinions in a civil society. And if we lose that, we'll lose so much you can't imagine. Now here's what's happened with Bill C-16 and the surrounding legislation. Free speech is the mechanism by which we keep our society functioning. It's as a consequence of free speech and the ability to speak. People can put their finger on problems, articulate what those problems are, solve them, and come to a consensus. And we risk losing that.
Secondly, Trump's presidency, and thirdly, the rise of various podcasts in the sphere later termed by Eric Weinstein as the intellectual darknet. And when I talk about such podcasts, I'm talking about the Rubin Report or Joe Rogan. And here a very iconic moment of Rubin's speechlessness when he was confronted with the facts about systemic racism by Larry Elder.
I asked you to name the most important example of racism, and you gave white cops going after black people. And I told you, gave you the facts for that, so that's nonsense. So you must have something else. What else is it? If you think racism remains a problem in America, give it to me.
Well, I think it remains a problem.
Give it to me.
It may not be systemic in that it's not like you're not being hired because you're black. There's no systemic reason, legal reason that exists, that kind of thing. But I think that racism as a general theory exists.
I need some specifics. You gave me the white cop thing. What else? Give me another example where you think is a problem.
Well, as a black conservative, tell me how do you get people to come around?
You're the one who made the assertion that you think racism remains a major problem in America. I asked you to give me an example. You gave me white cops going after blacks. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't hold it up very well.
If we consider discussions in 2017, one can notice that the topic was mostly revolving about feminism, free speech, political correctness, and one can also notice that nowadays, in the present, these topics are very less present in these discussions. And this is due to a shift to a broader, let's say, discussion. It is marked by the rise of the term wokeness, which actually encompasses all the previous discussions about feminism, about free speech, about political correctness, but also about social justices. One of the big episodes here is the pandering of big corporations, but also a very iconic moment or example of this case is the man-bashing ads of Gillette, but also another example is the actually radical left people who try to infiltrate their, let's say, meaning or opinion in Hollywood movies and the film industry in general. Furthermore, around 2 years ago, when you could say discussions were about women's issues and feminism, actually it changed then more to more topics about LGBTQ plus and trans issues. And it's very remarkable that very much people who were very dedicated supporters of the feminism and also women issues in general were not so happy with this cultural shift to topics like LGBTQ plus and trans issues in general. There was a case that was not very popular in the English-speaking world about Alice Schwarzer. She was a very iconic and intellectual speaker of feminism in the 70s in the German-speaking world. And her views on breaking up gender stereotypes were even so progressive that sometimes even her colleagues called her out to be too radical. And she actually wrote the following in a article she released earlier this year. And she wrote this: just to say, because she really thinks that the trans movement now is actually quite problematic or highly problematic. And she wrote the following, and this is translated from German, that there are now thousands of girls who want to suddenly change their gender, and also very young girls. There are schools with only 4 classes with people in it that say they're trans, that say that they want to become a boy. It really has become a mass phenomenon, and she even uses the word a trans trend. Of course, she got a lot of backlash for these comments, you could say, in her articles, even by her colleagues calling her a dinosaur who can't even add any more value to the establishment anymore as a pundit. And Schwarzer responded that she was one of the first one who came up for the non-discrimination of trans people. And it's very interesting to see in this case how very radical progressive people get taken over by even more progressive people in the present, and that even people that are so progressive as Schwarzer can't even keep up anymore in these days. When you look at our channel in 2017, it was no problem to talk about trans issues or procedures in connection to gender change. When you now want to talk about these procedures or even problems that could arise with these procedures in connection to gender change, you can already find yourself in very hot water. We can also see that radical progressive people really have stopped longing for consistency. And it has been going around for a while now. It has even been noticed by Stephen Hicks, if I say it correctly. You could see that the postmodern reduction of all mortality and also the fully embracement of the neo-Marxist mortality is not a consistent position, actually. And nowadays, in the present, you can really see, or you can really feel that this inconsistency in our society is even more apparent. As long as it fits the political agenda of the radical left people, the views on biology and social construction will always be arbitrarily bent in another direction that fits their agenda. And this is actually the true end stage of this postmodernism, where you could say truth and consistency gets rejected for a political agenda. And I want to use this channel to, how can I say it, for dissenting political discourse and talking about the most important parts of our conversations and talks about topics in the present. So if you're not subscribed already, please do and hit the notification bell, because there is a lot of videos coming soon.